Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel. If y'all been watching for a while, you remember when I sold my FXDX, I said the reason was because I wanted to eventually get a Lowrider S, and that I did. Here it is right here. I've had it for about 8 months now. It's been really slacking on the videos, but that's about to change. I want to go over a part install today. Reason being is my girlfriend just got her license, and she's been riding this Sportster right here, and she's been riding really well. But she's probably ready for a bigger bike, something that can go a little bit faster, handle the freeway better. And my FXR is soon to be done. The build's soon to be complete. So I'll update you guys on that and on this Lowrider. I know it's the first time you guys have seen this Lowrider on this channel, but the first thing I want to do is do an install video because I'm going to be putting the girlfriend on the Lowrider S. So I bought these IMZZ rear passenger pegs / crash bars to protect the bike, just because it is a little heavier, you know, just to protect it, you know, when the girlfriend's riding, in case it tips over, anything happens, it's got more protection on it. So I'm gonna get these crash pegs installed and show you guys what the install looks like. I got the bunking one up front, and bunking also does make rear passenger pegs, so I'm gonna show you guys some differences here in a little bit when I get it installed. All right, y'all, real quick, I've already filmed the entire install, and at the end of the video, I show you guys, you know, how much of the bike they protect, and kind of go over the differences and links between these and the ones bunking offers. But I just want to go ahead and say now that no company has sent me any parts or anything for this. I bought these parts with my own money, which is actually one of the reasons why I bought these crash pegs, because I found that these IMZZ ones were a tad bit cheaper than bunking, and they were available to ship out immediately. So I got these in about a week. The bunking ones, it did say, I believe, 1 to 2 weeks to allow before shipping. Possible that the bunkings might be available immediately through a third party, but I went with the IMZZ because they were available. They're handmade in America. I'm sure bunkings are as well, but they're both probably a quality part. But I was able to get these a little bit faster and a little bit cheaper. So I'll go ahead and get started with the install, show you guys some of the tools I needed, and then at the end I'll show you how much coverage you get from these pegs. Okay, I got started on removing the passenger pegs and realized I was not prepared. I needed a few other things. Currently, this was, well, before starting, this was the deepest 45 torque spit T45 that I had. Was not deep enough to go inside. I have like Allens. Some people I've seen use things like this, and they put like a pipe or, you know, wrench or something on there, and they use a Torx and they get it off with that, but it looks pretty brutal. I just went to Harbor Freight, picked up these two right here. This is 1/4 inch drive. These are 1/2 inch. It's a T25, so I'm just gonna lean towards using the 1/2 inch one, but I got both of them just in case. I didn't feel like going back. This one was $30, this one was $14. Then I also got this, a nylon pry bar. You have to take out a little piece that's plugged in, a little plug that's in the frame. I tried using this thing, it's from Harbor Freight. Works really good for popping out clips, but dude, it's got some real sharp edges right there. I was trying to be careful. It was just dig into the powder coat. So yeah, really wish I had waited and grabbed these nylon pry bars before I got started so I didn't mess up the paint, but not a big deal. I don't think you can really see it, but just showing you guys a quick little rundown of the tools I had to go out and grab before removing those stock passenger pegs. All right, y'all, I've already worked mine out, but just to show you guys where that nylon piece, this piece would have really come in handy. It's getting it behind this little plug right here, and then just carefully pulling that out. It's just got, you know, it just sits in those threads there. Not super difficult to take out. I'll show you, I guess, the clip of me taking it out with the pliers. I'll add that on there. And also I'll show you, I took off this clip already, not gonna put it back on, but there's one of these little clips, I think it's called an E-clip, that's on the peg right here. And so I just pushed this piece forward as much as I could, and then got some pliers and pulled it out. I'll put that clip in, but I'm not gonna redo that. Okay, got that little piece off. So then now took this piece out, Okay, so I took the passenger peg off, and there is a little ball right there, a little detent. So make sure you keep that somewhere safe, don't lose that. And then this is where I got and realized that I had a problem. I'm gonna see if this setup is long enough right now. So I got the new T25 that I picked up from Harbor Freight. Is it deep enough? Let me see. It seems like it's in there, but it's not like, jeez. It's really close to the pegs. It's gonna scratch up the pegs. That doesn't seem good. Let me see what I can do here. I also have a real skinny one, but if it takes a lot of pressure, I'm not too optimistic because it's only a 1/4 inch drive. My other option is to use this one. Hard to focus on it, but it's a T45. And that one does seem to seat in there better. And that sucker is on there. Crap. I believe I got it moving now. Yeah, it's coming. I like using this one because that big one would have been rubbing all over the pegs and messing up the powder coat. So this little 1/4 inch drive was able to get the job done. Probably gonna end up returning that other one. I don't know, we'll see. But that's what it looks like now. So you got these 2 holes right here. I'm gonna clean those up a little bit. This one's got some rust in it. This one's got some like thread lock in it. But I'm gonna clean those up and then get the pegs mounted. Okay, I've got the left side slider here, and it's just a little Allen that you hit right there and back that screw out. You don't have to take it out all the way, but then this piece comes out here. So I'm gonna set this to the side for right now. And then it didn't come with instructions, but I can use my imagination. And I believe they only gave 4 screws and 2 washers. I believe the washer would go only one of the ones that goes through the peg. And I'm gonna go get some blue Loctite before I start getting this in. Okay, so I hit this with some blue thread lock. And blue's gonna be gonna hold, but it's not gonna be as permanent as red. So in case you want to get it off later, it won't be fighting you as hard. But I've got my extension going through here, and I'm just gonna start it by hand before going crazy on it with the doesn't feel very smooth at all. Well, y'all, wish me luck. I'm gonna have to tap this side, this bolt. Hopefully that does not mess with the strength of the pegs, or rather the attachment of the pegs. This is why it's just not working. I think I'm just gonna get a wrench on it for now. I'm not gonna have much room here. All right, so we're having to run a tap. Not my favorite thing to do. It's moving pretty easy. I'm hoping it found the original threads. I just needed to clean out the beginning, I'm hoping. It's just moving super smooth, like it's almost chasing the threads, not really cutting threads, which makes me feel better. see if we've come through the other side. No, I'm not sure that's supposed to either. Okay, so I'm recording on my phone, which overheated, but not much metal came out, but there's definitely some stuff that had to get out of the way. And look at the threads now. Much cleaner. So, gonna move forward with the install. Again, this is how I messed it up with that one set of pliers. Again, definitely recommend getting some of these nylons. All right, so we've got our Loctite that's been applied to that screw, and we're gonna just work it in by hand. Oh yeah, much better. Yeah, I was going at it at the beginning. I was having no luck getting that in. It was terrible. A little trick I did, it kept falling deep inside of there. There's probably a better way to do it, but I ended up putting a little nut in there to kind of push that, to push this piece forward. Without it, kind of sits back in there and gets all wobbly and stuff like that. So I just put that little nut in there. And it helped me get that in. So I'm gonna start on the bottom one here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'll move the camera a little bit. It's gonna be right here. So we'll get that one started. Actually need to apply a little bit of Loctite to it. If I can find the Loctite. Okay, so we got a little bit of Loctite to the bottom one. We'll go ahead and get it started. Okay, seems like we've got it started pretty good. Let's check it out. Okay, yeah, it's going. Just gonna put a ratchet on this one. All right, we've gotten these two tight. So now what we need to do is focus on the slider. So I'll get the slider on here in just a second. All right, also I'm gonna put some Loctite on the little set screw so it doesn't come out. And then it's got the set screw goes right here at the bottom. So I'm gonna put the little hole that it retains into, try to line it up. I'm gonna come check it from below. Make sure that it's lined up as good as it can be. Okay. Look pretty good right there. So I'm gonna start putting it in. Okay, so now that the set screws in, I'm just going to back off the slider. It's just a 3/8 hex, and just apply some blue Loctite to it. Okay, got that in. Gonna put a wrench on it. Okay, and it's working against that set screw, so I don't know how much torque is really safe to put on it, so I'm gonna call that good. Okay. All right, so that's the left side. We'll get to the right side, show you how it looks. All right, I've moved over here to the right side. For sake of the video, I've already loosened up a couple things. So this little E-clip right here, I pried that out. I just try to be real careful not to, I didn't do that, you know, try not to scratch all this stuff right here. I think that was already done. But pop that E-clip out. Allows you to take off the foot peg. And I'll put that back together once I get this off. Next thing is gonna be the T45. Okay, got that one off. And then I've already broke the torque on the 9/16 down here under the exhaust. And I hear this really only works with a aftermarket exhaust. So if you're running a stock exhaust, I'm not sure if you'll run into issues, but from what it sounds like, you need to be running an aftermarket exhaust. A lot of the exhaust mounts, they use the same mounts the foot peg / crash bar uses. Because I have, according to the video I saw from IMZZ, because I have the exhaust mount, I won't need to use a washer or a spacer. So we'll see how everything lines up here in just a minute. That sounds very good. Trying to get that bolt out by hand because eventually I'm going to run out of room or get my wrench in and out of there. Okay, hopefully it's not too much longer. We'll be removing the exhaust here in a second. Come on. Yes. Okay, so I got that bolt out. So now we're ready to put the new bolts in, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean these threads up real quick. And I'm just gonna get it started here by hand. All right, it's going in pretty easy. Going to get the bottom one started here. It almost looks like there should be a spacer up top to space it out. Because the bottom, you're supposed to apparently put it on over the exhaust bracket. Look into that a little bit. That doesn't seem right. There should be a spacer up top. I'm gonna look into that. All right, I just got off the phone with Peter, who works at IMZZ. He's got the same setup on his bike. He said this is fine. This is how it's supposed to be. You put it on the outside of the exhaust bracket, he said. So, got some Loctite on that bottom bolt. I'm just snugging it up. Focus is terrible. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so got that one snugged up. Now I'm gonna go back to the top, start working on that. That's snugged up, so I'm gonna give them some final torque and then go back and put the slider in. Okay, now the next thing I'm gonna do is put the set screw in. Got it right here, just put some Loctite on it. I'm gonna go ahead and get it started by hand. Not all the way protruding or anything like that. Go ahead and slide this in. Okay, so it looks like I want to be holding on to that those threads. And spin this on there temporarily. Line up the bottom with the set screw. I believe I have it in the correct spot. Now they did say something about these being directional. It looks like it's sticking out a little bit past, so I'm gonna take it off and flip it around and see if that changes anything. This basically is gonna push the slider out. It's gonna be too much spacing between the slider. So let me back this out and see if I just flip it around. You definitely feel it when it goes in there, and yeah, it definitely is directional because I flipped it around and now it's more flush right here, so the slider won't be protruding out. So I'm glad I did that. Giving me trouble getting started here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Now we're started. I'm gonna start with this blue thing at the top here because I know once I tighten it up, it's gonna start rotating down. So I'm gonna start with it kind of like right here. I hope it spins around as it gets tight. Sure it doesn't come too far around. Okay, and that worked perfectly. So it pretty much started here and ended up somewhere at the bottom. I can't see it. So we're good. Install is done. Everything is torqued down. Okay, the pegs are installed. They look pretty good. They don't stick out quite as far as the bunking pegs up front. That was kind of one of my concerns. One of the reasons why I wanted these pegs was so that they would completely protect the bike. Looks like they might not protect the bags, at least all the way. Depends on how much you have in there. But if you go down, looks like your bags are probably gonna get chewed up a little bit on these pegs. And that was kind of one of my concerns. I called IMZZ, kind of see what they said about that, see if they made a longer one, because they advertised theirs to be 8 1/4 inches long. And I measured it, it's actually 8 1/2 inches long. They said you really don't want them. The point of them is not to protect the bags, it's really to protect the bike, like the primary, things like that. And you don't want them to stick out too far because, you know, the more they stick out, the more prone they can be to failing. And that does make sense. They didn't go into detail with me, so I don't want to speak for them, but it makes sense. The longer they are, you know, the more leverage is going to have in the ability to break and fail and not do its job. So, but they are a little bit shorter than how I wanted, but it makes sense why you might not want them to be too long. For one, I've heard that these bunking ones up front are a little too long when you lean over. I don't really lean that far, at least not yet. So, you know, in Houston, we don't really have that problem. There's no hills or, you know, curves or anything like that. So, anyways, but I chilled out on, you know, kind of being upset that they weren't longer. So again, they advertised at 8 1/4, but they actually come out to 8 1/2 inches overall. And then bunking, they also make one in competition. They make one that's 8 1/4 also, and they also make one that's 9 3/4. So 9 3/4 would come to about right there. It would cover would stick out a lot more and probably sit more even with that front crash bar. Because if you look at it, that front one sticks out longer. Just kind of not as, doesn't protrude as much as the front, but supposedly that's okay. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I'm excited to have them on there just for an extra piece of insurance, peace of mind, in case the girlfriend drops the lowrider or the bike. You know, hopefully we'll be protected. But again, this is how much they cover. There it is on the one side. You see the Bun King up front protruding out way farther, and I believe it's a Bun King. I got the bike with that on there. I'm almost positive that's a Bun King front crash bar. See the back, it doesn't quite cover your leather pros, but again, that's not really the intention. My understanding is supposed to cover, you know, the bike, not necessarily the bags. So there they are installed, y'all. I'll keep you updated. There's gonna be a lot more videos on this bike to come. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, check out the channel for more YouTube videos.